Welcome to our 10th and final week of digging deeper into the experience of forgiveness. Now, next week, we're going to begin a series of identifying the new self-understanding of the United Methodist Church as we move together forward beyond the experience of separation and ecclesiastical divorce that we've experienced. But this week, we're wrapping up our experience of dealing with forgiveness. I want to start by something that one of you who watches a video every week shared with me, and this is a quote from Mahatma Gandhi that was not aware of. And this is, quote, "Forgiveness is the ornament of the brave," end of quote. That's really what we've experienced together. I've experienced it, that forgiveness is an ornament of the brave. People who are willing to be forgiving are really brave and courageous people, as we accept forgiveness and strive to be forgiven. Indeed, is a mark of courage and bravery. And I also want to remind us of Bishop Tutu, that great South African leader who led the nation to consider forgiveness as an element necessary for them to move forward. Remember, he said that um, human beings are bound together in a bundle. When another is dehumanized, all are dehumanized. When another is diminished, all are oppressed. When one has Ubuntu, forgiveness is a way of life. It's what makes restoration, rehabilitation, and reconciliation a reality instead of an impossible, never to be seen dream. I also want to share with you another poetic statement from Andrew Armstrong. I think it's a restatement of Ubuntu. He titles this piece of poetry "Hand in Hand." It would be a stretch indeed if everyone in the world could pause and join hands, an endless ring around Earth's middle, a circle of beating hearts and peaceful thoughts. For in this weave of humanity, we would see that I am you and you are me. What a profound understanding. It's a little bit clearer to me, instead of talking about human beings as a bundle, um, that there's a weave of humanity that connects us all. The way of life to be forgiven and striving to be forgiving is the highest calling of Jesus. To be sure, as followers of Jesus, we don't always get there. We often don't get there. But just because we don't achieve the goal to always be forgiving doesn't mean that we can't strive to be forgiving. For our search for a meaningful faith is a search, not an arrival. We're limited. We're not divine. Therefore, a search to respond to the high calling of forgiveness that was revealed in the life and teachings of the one we follow, Jesus. Now, you've seen every week a format of representation of this series on forgiveness. And I want to unpack that a little bit as we conclude our time together, because discipleship is a journey marked by decisions we make every day. We make a decision every day between being forgiven and being angry. To be angry is appealing, for it personalizes an enemy and enables one to turn our backs on those we hate. We make the decision every day between being forgiving and carrying resentment. Carrying resentment is appealing, for it offers us a clear sense of identity of who is our enemy. We make decision every day between being forgiven and striving to be forgiving and practicing revenge. To practice revenge is appealing, for it fulfills that innate desire to win and prevail over the loser who lost to me when the contest was over. Every day we make the decision between being forgiving and retaliation. Retaliation is so appealing, for it includes the element of punishment, imposing suffering on the other who, I believe, wronged me. Daily we make the decision between being forgiving and amnesia. To practice amnesia is appealing, for it offers us the illusion that we can forgive and forget. We make the choice daily between being forgiving and apathy. Apathy is appealing because it frees us from any responsibility for another. For apathy means I do not care. We make the choice every day between being forgiving and exercising judgment. And exercising judgment of the other is appealing, for it places us on the throne of authority and crowns us with the privilege of the final word. See, in summary, these natural tendencies of our emotions are those which are identified in the symbolic portrayal of forgiveness as the heart of the gospel, which, if followed, strikes through following these natural tendencies, and in their place, we find the heart of the gospel. It's captured, if you will, in the words of the hymn writer, "Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me." In these 10 weeks, we have attempted to respond to the question, how in the world can it begin with me? It begins with you and me when we are committed to Utumbo, the weave of humanity. From this foundation, we accept that we are forgiven and we are loved instead of being judged. And in turn, we strive to be forgiving. The earlier followers of Jesus accepted that forgiveness is the heart of the gospel. Listen to what the folk in Ephesus received in the letter of Paul, Ephesians 4:32. And be kind to one another, tender-hearted, forgiving one another as God in Christ forgave you. Listen to what the church in Colossia heard from the letter of Paul to them. Therefore, as the elect of God, holy and beloved, put on tender mercies, kindness, humility, weakness, long-suffering, bearing one another. Remember the bundle. Remember we're woven together. And he says, bearing one another and forgiving one another. So indeed, the followers of Jesus that later became the church knew early on that the heart of the gospel is forgiveness, a new way of life, putting into place of our natural tendencies a commitment to search for a meaningful faith, walking the road of being forgiven and striving to be forgiving. Thank you for being a part of this journey. And I just have one question for you to consider. What have been your primary learnings from this series on forgiveness as the heart of the gospel? Thank you for taking this journey with me.